From Buffalo Wild Wings on 6th Street in Brookings, welcome to Benchwarmers. Today's featured guests are South Dakota State head men's basketball coach TJ Otzelberger, radio play-by-play voice for SDSU Athletics Tyler Merriam, SDSU linebackers coach Jimmy Rogers, and our host, Midco Sports Network's Tom Nieman.
Hello, welcome to Benchwarmers. We are at Buffalo Wild Wings, Brookings, South Dakota, home of the Jackrabbits, our own little Jackrabbit National Convention right here. Republicans are going to make it great again, whatever the Democrats are talking about this week. We're going to talk about Jackrabbit football and basketball. Tyler Merriam says he can do a mean Donald Trump impersonation. Hopefully we don't get to that. But we're going to get to some basketball with new men's head coach TJ Otzelberger. Football practice starts next week. Players report next week. Jimmy's been out recruiting hard, but what's the anticipation like getting ready for this season for Jackrabbit football?
It's really exciting just with everything that's going on as far as the facilities, the new stadium. Recruiting has really taken off. We had several summer camps, and we made an impression on a lot of guys. So we got a lot of guys on board for the next class are ready to come in, and we're excited because we got a lot of really good players coming in from this previous year's class.
Yeah.
So
was just over at the new stadium. The turf is almost done there. It's just a beautiful place. And it's Coughlin alumni was great, loved it, but this is a real football stadium. And when you were out just recently recruiting in the last few months or so, can you put a finger on how big a deal the facilities are to a kid that's coming in?
It's huge because, in the past we haven't had the facilities to compete with some of the top programs that we play against. And so for us to be able to say, hey, come to our campus, and then get them here on campus, and then there'll be a wow factor when they get here. I mean, it's huge. It's huge because we're putting Brookings, South Dakota State on the map with athletics, basketball, football. But now when they have an opportunity to come on campus and just to see everything from the weight room to the indoor to now the new stadium, it's unbelievable. So
I mean, it is a wow factor, isn't it, when you walk in there?
No, it's unbelievable. I know even for our basketball recruits, when they've come in for camp and things like that and just showing them that facility, they've been extremely impressed. And obviously we're hoping to continue forward some facility moves with the basketball facilities as well. New
lighting at Frost Arena, though, it's a big deal. It seems like a brighter light, not that yellowy light. That's going to be different this year.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and that buzzing sound that people have talked about is no longer.
All right. And the press box, we're looking forward to that, Tyler.
We have an elevator now for the press box, Tom. So, yes, that is something special. But I think one thing when we talk about the recruiting is once you get kids to campus, this campus tends to sell itself, especially with all of these new improvements that we're talking about. That's sometimes the biggest battle for those who aren't in a 2-hour radius of Brookings is they don't necessarily understand what's here. You get them here, you see some of these facilities that we're just talking about, you get a lot of kids to commit because they want to be a part of what's happening.
You found that out, haven't you?
Yeah. The people here are our biggest selling point because that's why I came to school here. That's why a lot of people come to school here. But then when you add that on top of everything that's going on, it's unbelievable.
Recruiting itself, as far as the totality of a football or basketball program at the level you guys are at, is it half the battle? Is it more than that? How big a deal is recruiting in what you do?
It's absolutely huge. I mean, you have to love it. You have to be passionate about it. You have to wake up every day, and it's got to be something that feeds your soul. You've got to love going out to meet new recruits. You've got to love building those relationships and letting them know what an awesome place this is and success they can have coming here as a Jackrabbit. So it's a big deal. I mean, I don't know what you can put a percentage or a number on it, but it's absolutely the lifeblood of your program.
You guys are both salesmen to some point, aren't you? Can you see Jimmy going out there and doing his sales presentation?
I'm not much of a salesman. I just keep it real with the players and tell them what's on my heart. I live this because I played here, and the opportunity to coach at the place that you played at, not a lot of people have that opportunity. So I think for me, I'm just more genuine, and I just tell them how I really feel about South Dakota State.
And you can tell with all the guys, you're from Arizona and recruit that state, and you can tell the impact that it's had coming from that area, and whether it's from your area in Wisconsin for basketball. I mean, personality makes a difference for bringing guys in, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think, your reputation too, that you hope over time you build a reputation and that guys you've coached, they develop, that they've had a great experience, and now they spread that word to the next recruit that's coming through, and hopefully that develops a pipeline.
Let's talk specifically about football a little bit while we've got Jimmy here. And Jackrabbit defense, you guys led the Missouri Valley Conference games last year. Led that league, a very good league, in points allowed, less than 16 points a game. What kind of goals you guys got for that defensive squad for the Jacks this year?
We got the same goals that we've always had, winning in the scoring category like we did last year. But one thing I think we fell short of last year is we constantly preached taking the ball away, so causing turnovers. And a couple years back, I think we were one of the best in the country at that. And so when you take the ball away a bunch, it helps so many categories: rushing, passing, and then the scoring part of things. But we're going to be really good on defense, and that's the plan. And just stick to our core values of running the football, taking it away, and then just doing your 1/11th and playing within the system. So got a lot of guys coming back. We lost a couple key players in Jerian and Jimmy Forsyth, and then TJ Lally had played 4 years in a row, started. I mean, that type of leadership is it's hard to replace, the confidence level, but a lot of really good young players. And then where you want to be deep at D-line wise, and then we got 2 starting linebackers back, and then we got 2 safeties back. That's kind of a good core foundation of where you want to be. So we're excited about this year and what we can do.
Yeah, Tyler, and you've been researching, I know, and what are you looking forward to as far as watching the Jacks on the football field?
Well, Jimmy hit it a little bit when you talk about the interior of the line, and you got that crew that's been together seemingly forever with Langer and Solik and down the line. You've got a lot of talented parts there on defense, and then of course you flip to the other side on offense, and you've got some tremendously talented individuals. Goddard gets forgotten about because everybody talks about Winicky, and you probably have 4 legitimate FCS starting running backs in there with how talented they are from top to bottom there, and 2 proven quarterbacks. So I'm glad I don't have to make the decision on who gets the reps and who gets how many snaps on a fall Saturday.
All right, opener coming up at TCU, first week of September. Jimmy, do you like playing these games, going against these Big 12, Big 10 teams, whoever it is, in that first game of the year?
Yeah, I think our players do as well. Yeah. I mean, you always, we'll play anybody anywhere, and that's kind of been our motto. And but our guys get excited because now they're playing so-called the best of the best. And we went down to Mizzou and competed, and we've competed at Nebraska, and last year with our win at Kansas. We just try to approach every game like it's really the same, and don't try to get too high, don't try to get too low, but focus on the now and win in the moment. So there's no doubt when you walk into the stadium what type of feeling that will give you as a player. It gives you some anxiety, but we just try to calm them down and focus on the job.
Yeah. Going to be a good year to get a nice little home winning streak going in that new stadium.
Yep.
It's going to be fun. Football gets started here next week at South Dakota State. We've got a poll question coming up later on how many wins in the regular season the Jackrabbit football team is going to have this year. More than 100 votes on that. We'll show you that coming up later. Next, though, going to talk men's basketball at South Dakota State with new head coach TJ Otzelberger.
Benchwarmers on Midco Sports Network is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Welcome back to Brookings. Welcome back to Benchwarmers here at Buffalo Wild Wings. And let's talk some South Dakota State University men's basketball. TJ Otzelberger is the new men's head coach, and welcome. First of all, are you moved in? Are you at home in Brookings now, finally?
Yeah, we're finally in, get my family back from Australia tonight. So for us, July is a big recruiting month. So now it's the first time I'll actually have my family settled in. I pick them up from the airport tonight, and we're kind of locked in for a little bit, so it feels good.
You had the whirlwind of making the announcement. Your wife is from Australia, and you guys were over there visiting, and the kids and your wife are coming back, right?
Yeah, I spent 10 days over there visiting with my wife's family, and then because we're gone so much in July recruiting, they stayed over there for the last 3 weeks, so it'll be good to have them home tonight.
You grew up in the Milwaukee area, right in Milwaukee. Where are you from?
Absolutely, yeah. I grew up in the city of Milwaukee and went to high school at South Side, Catholic High School, Thomas More, south side of the city. So Milwaukee through and through. All
right. Played at Wisconsin Whitewater as a player. All right. Just talk about when you got here, looked at what was here with the returning players. What's coming back that was here already for the Jackrabbit men?
Yeah, I think the first thing that we felt like we needed to address was the loss on the perimeter. When you lose Marshall and Parks and Biddle and Moffitt, losing 4 guys that played the most minutes, I think combined scored in 46, 47 points a game. You hear teams that win in the NCAA tournament, and they always talk about experienced guards and depth in the backcourt, and to have 4 senior guards, we knew right away that from a recruiting standpoint, that was something we needed to address and get after. So we feel like we've done that. We've hit the trail in 2 different ways. One with immediate transfers that could come in and play right away with Michael Orris, point guard who played at Northern Illinois last year, had been a starter there through his career, and then with A.J. Hess, who's more of a wing shooter from Southern Utah, and those guys will be eligible to play for us right away. And then also 2 junior college guards, and Chris Howell, who's coming in from Butler Community College in Kansas, and then Andre Wallace from Iowa Western, and then we have freshman guard Sergio Eldarwich. So those are our 5 new guys. As far as the returning guys, thought we returned, obviously, Mike Dom has proven to be a great player in this league. Excellent scorer, inside, outside, matchup nightmare for teams. And then Reed Tellinghu's another veteran guy that kind of go back and forth from the wing and on the perimeter. And then we have some other veterans that guys that hadn't been starters that may ask to be in a bigger role. When you look at Ian Tyson and Tevin King and Skylar Flatten, Cole Gentry, and Adam Dykeman and Lane. So you go on down the line. For us, this summer's been an opportunity to really evaluate our guys and try to figure out how we're going to piece the lineups and combination together, try to be as successful as we can.
And you've been able to do that in the last couple of weeks. You were talking, you can get into some more competitive situations, get these guys playing against each other and figure out who that first and second 5 is going to be, right?
Yeah, during the summer we get two hours a week on the court to work with them, and we've taken advantage of that. And tomorrow will be our last workout. It seems like it's come and gone so quickly, but we're trying, especially with today and tomorrow, to really just do some competitive things and just kind of see how guys respond to different situations.
Explain how this works with transfers, graduate transfers, which are the 2 guys you brought in, Hess from Southern Utah and Orris from Northern Illinois. Graduate transfers, how does that work? Can you explain that?
So if you attend another school, you complete your degree. It's if you've gone to only one school like A.J. Hess has, it's an automatic that it's a waiver, and you can go eligible and transfer for that 5th year of competition. So for A.J., he had an injury last year that sat him out, so he only played 3 years of eligibility at Southern Utah. For Michael Orris, he's a 2-time transfer. His a little bit different. He needs to look for a graduate degree different than what's offered at where he was last at Northern Illinois. And for him, then it becomes a waiver process by the NCAA, which he's been granted his eligibility.
All right. You see, I don't know, maybe it's not more and more now, but you see more in that going on, don't you? The graduate transfer rule?
Yeah, I mean, in college basketball, the culture is there's 357 Division I teams, and there's close to 800 transfers every year. So, that's about two guys per program. And now you're seeing probably 50 to 75 every year, those graduate transfers that get out there. And for teams, it becomes a way to get a guy with some experience who's battle-tested and come in right away.
And I think there are close to 50 head coaches just in the Division I level that moved around this year. Is that the way it is right now in college basketball as well?
Yeah, I think 50, it's 50 plus, which is a little high this season. I think it's usually, low to mid 40s, but I think so. I think what you're seeing more and more at the mid-major level is guys making that jump after one good season to the next level. You're seeing guys get those opportunities, and then I think that we're in the culture of now, and everybody wants to win right away. So there's more and more moves every year, it seems like.
All right, just talk about what's coming in here to Frost Arena this year. By the way, a 29-game home winning streak for the SDSU men. And you've got some games in December coming in with Kansas City, Idaho, Murray State. That's some pretty good teams coming in to play at Frost, where it's been hard to get teams to come in and play.
Yeah, we're excited. We're going to work as hard as we can to try to bring people in the Frost for our fans so they can have an unbelievable game experience. And we want to pack it, and we want to bring in quality opponents. So we're excited about those 3 games, especially to have them on 3 Saturdays in a row in December. I think gives our fans an opportunity to come out, and wherever you might be traveling from, it gives you a chance to get to the game and get home on a weekend night. So we're excited about it.
And then maybe the first chance people will get to see you and all these new guys in the new system at the Pentagon in Sioux Falls in November with 3 other good teams coming in there, right?
Yeah, no, all 3 teams won 20 games last year. When you're looking at Milwaukee and Irvine and East Tennessee State, 3 really good mid-major programs in 3 days in a row. So we're going to have to be ready to roll right from the jump, because it's going to be a good challenge for us.
All right. Very much looking forward to the SDSU men's basketball season as well. Going to take a break. When we come back, going to talk a little bit more about SDSU's presence on a national level. When you go to Arizona or Milwaukee or anywhere around the country that Tyler's been doing radio, what is SDSU's national presence? If they have one, we'll talk about that when we come back.
Benchwarmers on Midco Sports Network is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings. Welcome back to Benchwarmers here at Buffalo Wild Wings in Brookings, South Dakota, home of the Jackrabbits.
Let's talk a little bit with Tyler and Jimmy and Coach Otzelberger here about South Dakota State's presence on a national scale. Tyler, when you're out doing radio all over the country and in Arizona, Jimmy, where you go recruit for the most part, does South Dakota State have a national presence? Do people know about the Jackrabbits in Arizona?
I think they do more and more, because when we start to go into high school football in Arizona, and the recruiting process is so big down there. So we're constantly in the playoffs. We're constantly a national contender trying to win a national championship. So the teams know, or schools know who we are when we go into school. And then it also helps for the student athletes that we're recruiting to know, they're picking the brackets for the NCAA tournament, and we're constantly in it. And then with our wrestling team going to the Big 12, there's a lot of positive things that are happening here. And we have presence. And then when we recruit nationally and we bring guys in and then they have success, it creates a wow factor in those states in which we're getting the players. So I definitely think there's a rise of interest at South Dakota State nationally. So.
And you can go into some places now in Arizona and find South Dakota State gear.
Yeah, I was telling Tyler that earlier, that at the Foot Locker in Chandler Fashion Square Mall, they had some South Dakota State hoodies, and my brother sent a picture to me, and it was pretty crazy. So I was excited about that. I actually went and almost bought the whole stack of them, so they'd just keep replenishing it.
But football feeds basketball, and it goes back and forth. And when you were at Iowa State, people were aware of South Dakota State just from being in the tournament, and to get to the NCAA tournament and compete there and be on national TV like that is probably the biggest thing, isn't it?
Yeah, we were definitely aware, because I believe it was 2008.
Yep.
Just before Christmas, we got our butts kicked when the Jackrabbits came in. I remember our guys right before Christmas break probably took it for granted or whatever it was, how good the Jackrabbits were. And so I've been very aware of the Jackrabbit program since that loss. And I think it's kind of building on what Jimmy and Tyler are saying in terms of the winning and the brand that helps get the name out there. Jimmy talked earlier about playing the best teams you can nationally and playing anybody. I think that helps spread the word as well.
And kids talk, don't they? I mean, is that another way that it's so instantaneous? If you got a kid in Chandler, Arizona that says, I'm going to SDSU, everybody else down there that he knows that right away, right? It's pretty
when
quick.
You recruit the high-profile athletes that are good football players that fit your program, and they come up there, it's like we recruited Jacob Brown. I think he was ranked, regardless of what that means, like the 80th wide receiver in the country. When he went, I can refer back to, do you know Jacob Brown? And they're like, oh, Jacob Brown goes there, because everybody knew who he was. So that definitely has an impact on everything for us.
But it's taking some work to get there.
Yeah, it does.
Obviously, right?
Yeah, it does. So,
Tyler, when we were out in Spokane last year for the men's tournament, talking to maybe national media members, is it the same thing? Is the profile getting higher all the time?
Oh, there's no question it is. And like they've talked about the success, and to give Justin Suck credit, he made that comment early. He said the women's basketball success helps, football helps, but men's basketball, getting in the dance and being on all those brackets, you can't put a price tag on the attention you can get. And you've seen that again and again and again with the success of the athletic department as a whole. And then also, again, the exposure not only being on national TV for the NCAA tournaments, but with what you guys are doing here at Midco and ESPN3. That makes such a big difference as well when you're able to be national and international even with so many broadcasts.
Yeah, but it's got to be that way now. At the level you guys are at, you can't just recruit South Dakota and Minnesota and Iowa. It's got to be a national presence, doesn't it?
Absolutely, no. And it's like Jimmy said too. You try to get out there nationally and recruit and build your brand and your name, and then when they come here, make sure they have a great experience, win a lot of games, and that way when you go back for the next student athlete, they're going to be very aware of the Jackrabbits.
All right, when we come back, got a question from the crowd, the lunchtime crowd here at Buffalo Wild Wings, dealing with SDSU men's basketball. We'll be back with that.
Benchwarmers on Midco Sports Network is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Welcome back to Benchwarmers. Time for our Winging It question of the week, and for that, let's go to Carla Metz. Carla?
Thanks, Tom. I have Justin Peterson, who's actually an SDSU alum here in Brookings, and he lives here right now. And since we have Coach Otzelberger on the show today, he has a question about the upcoming basketball season.
Which new incoming basketball player is going to make the biggest impact in the 2017 season?
All right, Tom, let's see what the panel thinks.
All right, Coach, Justin wants to know of the new players coming in this year, the transfers and the new guys on the men's basketball team, who will have the biggest impact? I know that's kind of a vague, broad question, but can you answer that? The biggest impact for a new guy coming in?
You know, I think we talked a little bit about having 5 new guards coming in, and obviously replacing the 4 guards that we had is going to be a big task and need to be done by committee and all those guys coming in. I think right now, when you look at from an experience standpoint, you have to start with the point guard position. It's so important that you have a point guard that can lead, that can distribute the ball, that knows what that team needs. And obviously with Michael Orris having 3 years under his belt as a college point guard, he comes in a spot where he's got some big shoes to fill. And I think we have a lot of confidence in Michael. He was a guy that coming out of high school was projected by a lot of people as a top 100 level player. Initially had committed to Illinois and then followed Coach Bruce Weber to Kansas State. Now he's here with us. So he's done a great job in summer workouts, being a leader, being vocal, stepping up and kind of relishing that role, and we're looking for big things from him.
And AJ Hess, you said, can score. All these guys are going to have an impact, right? I mean, all the guys you bring in.
Definitely, no, I think so. And AJ can really fire shots in. I mean, he can score the ball. He's kind of a 6'6", 6'7", 3'4" type of guy. We'll play him at the 2 guard at times. So I think with all 5 of those guys, they'll certainly have an impact, and we're excited to see what they can do.
And you keep saying you're going to score some points this year, right? Get up and down.
Absolutely. We'll put points on the board.
All right, looking forward to Jackrabbit basketball. When we come back, the SDSU football question and our poll question: how many games will the Jackrabbits win in the regular season this year? We'll have that when we come back.
Benchwarmers on Midco Sports Network is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings.
Our poll question this week on Benchwarmers: how many games will South Dakota State football team win in the regular season this year? We had more than 160 votes on this, almost half of them 8 or 9 wins. That's where the Jacks have been. You got to think we're going to do that again, 10 plus. Jimmy thinks that's possible. We'll see what happens there. Thank you guys very much. Tyler, Jimmy Rogers, Coach TJ Otzelberger. We'll see you next week in Fargo on Benchwarmers.